Hello everyone and welcome back to the garden. This is going to be our last garden update before I do the summer changeover. If you remember last year I showed y'all the summer changeover that I do when the spring flowers are finally done blooming and it's finally time to switch over to the summer garden. But I really wanted to get out here and take a quick look at what's going and what's blooming, what's finishing up bloom before I start tearing out all the plants and doing a completely new summer garden here in this little space. Fortunately, we are going to have this garden. I say we, it's just me, but fortunately I'm going to have access to this garden a little bit longer. It's a long story. Just not going to worry about it, but here's one final look at the tulip bed. It's like a 4-foot by 15-foot tulip bed. It's finishing up blooms. Fortunately, I was able, after this video, to go through and harvest most of these flowers that are still open here and in good shape. Some of them were damaged by rain and thunderstorm and various other weather events, so that's why it is so colorful, is because there are some kind of damaged and spent blooms in there that kind of got left behind. So I'm going to have to get in there and really clean it up and make sure it's ready to go in terms of switching out the flower beds for something a little bit different. Richard Simmons is also reaching his growth cycle, the end of his growth cycle. Unfortunately, I left him outside and there was a frost that nobody predicted, and a lot of his hair was damaged by the frost. You can see he's very surprised. He's very surprised by it. So we probably won't be seeing Richard Simmons Chia again. Also, I wanted to quickly show you some of the daffodils. A lot of the daffodils are wrapping up now that the weather has started to turn just a little bit warmer. The last of the kind of late season daffodils are starting to bloom. This is Cheerfulness. If you watched the full tour daffodil video, you've already seen these Cheerfulness. They're one of my favorites this year. I did want to say thank you sincerely to everyone who watched the daffodil full tour video. It means a lot to me because those videos are so hard to put together, especially for somebody like me who's not a tech savvy person, and I barely can edit these videos and get them out because I have no clue really what I'm doing. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Your support always means a lot to me. I really do. I genuinely mean that. Anyway, enough rambling on. These are the last bits of the daffodils that are blooming here in the yard. Now, I won't be removing these daffodils. I have to let all the foliage die back naturally, of course. But as soon as that foliage dies back naturally, I'm going to be digging up all of these daffodils and removing them and hopefully planting them somewhere else. Moving right along, here is something magical happening in the yard right now. Now, you may remember that I mentioned that a lot of my ranunculus died, but fortunately, the area of the garden where I planted my fancy ranunculus, they did really well. I didn't have that same drainage problem in this area. And in this area, I have a lot of really beautiful varieties. I even have some of the clone varieties. And this was the first season ever that I was able to actually, afford to buy like 10 of the clone varieties, or like 10 corms each, not 10 different types. And they're so incredibly beautiful. These colors are insane, The clone varieties of ranunculus are always so expensive, and I wanted to not like them. I was hoping that they would just be like the others and that they wouldn't be worth the price tag. They're quite pricey, but they really are something special. And of course, if you're interested in the different varieties of the clone ranunculus that I purchased this year, I will have a video coming about that very soon. Also, the anemones are just finishing up. They've been blooming since mid-February, early February, and they're finally just now finishing up. I'm going to go through and probably take these out, even though they technically will behave as a perennial here where I am. Also, I have the snapdragons are finally starting to elongate and get taller and put on growth here in the yard this year. I have Chantilly snapdragons, and I think I planted a rocket snapdragon. Both of them are a mix of colors. They're not just one color. I kind of wanted to make sure I was able to get as many colors and as much variety as possible in my small space. But those have started to lengthen, which is very exciting because if you'll remember, I had a failure with snapdragons last year. So it's kind of weird that I keep having these failures with different things. Also, I wanted to show you the carnation bed, the small little carnation bed that I have. Carnation foliage is really kind of boring and not much to look at. It's just like these little tufts of grass sticking up. But as you can see, since the days have gotten longer, these little carnation plants have started to get taller and taller. Hopefully they'll be able to make some flowers before the weather gets too hot. They're a little bit smaller than I'd like. Also checking in on the calla lilies that I planted in trays. You can see that every single calla lily rhizome has started to grow. You can see those cute little spikes sticking out of the tray. And I guess my main task really now with this tray is making sure that it stays watered and making sure that it doesn't dry out, because that's a major problem here in my yard. Also in containers, our Ito peonies have started to push through the soil, which is really exciting. It seems like they took a little while to start growing and to really get to popping out of the soil, but now they're starting to open up and putting out their leaves. Also, I planted my Leasianthus tray. I'd ordered a liner tray or plug tray, whatever you call it, of Leasianthus, and I finally got those planted out in the garden. Ideally, I would have planted them around the first week of April, but let's just face it, I'm always behind and I hardly ever have space for this stuff. So I consider it a victory just that I got these into the ground so early in the season as right now. Just really a lot of stuff going on, even though it's such a small space. Like I said, it's a 30 foot by 30 foot backyard growing space. There's just so much going on. I've really enjoyed having these tulips in the backyard as well, to be able to pick those and kind of get back into the swing of arranging flowers for donations and arranging flowers in vases again. Last couple years have just kind of been blah for me. And hopefully, you know, I can find that spark again and find that spark, you know, with a new growing space. I did want to show y'all some flower arrangements that I did over the last couple weeks. This one is just a combination of pastel pinks and purple tulips, which I really loved. I just love the color combination, so I just put those into a vase. It's not really an arrangement, it's more so as me really loving that color combination that I was able to grow in the yard. The next flower arrangement is yet another combination of just these beautiful peony tulips, and some really nice ranunculus. This is the Amandine porcelain ranunculus. It's a beautiful peachy pink color, and those tulips in there are just charming beauty, which is another classic double tulip. And of course, I couldn't ignore those cheerfulness daffodils. I think this one came together really nicely in a vase. It's so soft and delicate looking. It's reminds me very much of spring, which I really love. Next, we have an arrangement that Richard Simmons Chia was really impressed by, apparently. This is another collection of tulips. This is the Anthraciette tulip, I guess is how you say it, and La Belle Époque mixed together. And we have some really beautiful Cloney ranunculus in there. I think this is the Cloney Grand Pastel ranunculus. Is beautiful peach color. You'll notice that ranunculus blooms are the same size as those peony tulips, and some of them are bigger. They are gorgeous. They're amazing. We had another flower arrangement that I did. Is just another blend of those pinks that I was just really loving. I think Amazing Grace tulip is in there, as well as one called Perfect Wedding. Is that smaller pink one, that baby pink color. That's really nice. Also, some of those yellow and white double daffodils. I did another arrangement with Lambada, Fringe Tulip, Black Hero, and another variety of this beautiful Cloney ranunculus, this orange Cloney ranunculus. Oh, I love this color combination. I picked up this vase that you see. It's actually a water pitcher from an estate sale for 50 cents. And like, it's amazing the difference that just a beautiful vase can make. So hopefully I'll be doing that more when I have space. Anyway, next, this arrangement uses these yellow and red fringe tulips, which are very out of character for me. And I usually avoid yellow and red, much less yellow and red together, but I think it turned out nice. Also did another one with these Great Barrier Reef purple tulips that are beautiful. I love this combination of this kind of lavender and orange. I don't know why. I think it's gorgeous. I mixed it in with some Silver Chums daffodils, those little white daffodils, which I think are super cute and kind of tie the color palette together. The ranunculus in this one, I believe, were purple something. It was amandine. It wasn't one of the clone varieties. Also in this vase we have more of the clone ranunculus. These are a deep dark color, and this tulip I believe is John Quieres or something. It's French probably, and I'm sure I'm saying it incorrectly, but y'all let me know down in the comments. You always do. I'm just kidding. Last but certainly not least, for this video I wanted to show you this white arrangement. This is just some amandine cream ranunculus with, I believe this is green spirit tulip, a white tulip, and the cheerfulness. I just like the kind of, I don't know, monochromatic look. Is that the word I'm looking for? Look of this one, which the white, that little flecks of green, bits of green in there too. Overall, I think it's really gorgeous. That's about it for this video. I am so thankful that you watched it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. As always, if you have any comments or questions, you can leave them down below, and I'll do my best to get to them. I do try to answer all the comments, but sometimes I just get so overwhelmed and busy with everything I got going on. I get way behind, but eventually I will get to it, hopefully. As always, links to Patreon and the blog and like ebooks and garden planners and all kinds of different stuff is down in the description below. So you might find something helpful down there if you're looking for something specific. I hope that you're having such an incredible day. I hope it's sunny wherever you are, and I hope your garden is growing great. I will talk to y'all later. Bye!